All right, so here, today's video, we're going to start creating, we're going to start talking about how to get rich now, not tomorrow, nor the day after. All these people promising you things. This is a free video. We're going to understand what money is, and we're going to understand how to get wealthy. So let's get started right away. Okay, so we're going to be talking about like what is money. And I know everybody's going to say, "Oh, I know what money is." Okay, let's take a different look on that and let's see if I can change a little bit of your mind. What are the different ways we can make money? The imaginary lines that are set for us, we set ourselves. And we're going to talk about how to make decisions and change this or stay the same. It's up to you. And how to get started. Okay, how to get started because everybody's like, "Oh, how do I start where I'm at?" You're going to learn all that. So basically, let's talk about money first. Everybody that gets to an age of understanding wants money. They're like, "Oh, I want money. I want to get things. I want to do this, do that." And you know, it could be happy the first job you had, or it could be disappointing if you had a job, or if you started a business. It could have certain type of ways that you can feel when they paid you. For example, when they paid my son his first check, they took away the taxes, and he's like, "Oh, what is this? I thought I was gonna get this," and then, "Oh no, you have to pay taxes," and that shocks you a little bit if that's your first paycheck. To me, it was a kind of difference because I used to work on the weekends in a birthday party company when they did clowns and characters, and they used to pay me cash. So they used to give me 120, $180 every weekend, but I had to work every weekend where my friends were having fun on the weekends. I was working and making money. So we're gonna talk about money. Money is just an exchange. We have given it value. It's paper, and that's why you see rappers are like, "Oh, give me paper. What's my paper?" And that's just means that it's made out of paper. It's just something that we gave value, and the value that we have given it is the power to rule over everything that we do. This has been the most powerful control system that the world has ever developed. Because it doesn't matter what religion you are, it doesn't matter what color you are, it doesn't matter what you do. We can take this paper and exchange it for goods or services. And I want you to understand this because there's people that are going to learn how to move this paper towards their benefit, and there's other people that are going to have to work for this paper. And we're going to talk about these things. And um, we're going to talk about first the cash flow quadrant. So, a cash flow quadrant, this is done by Robert Kiyosaki in his book Rich Dad Poor Dad. I recommend you get all these, find out about all these people that I'm talking about and get books. And if you can get a physical book, get an ebook or get an audio book. Three ways you can see it. You can get it physically, you can hear it, or you can read it electronically. So I might put a link on the description on Amazon on where to get these books. So Rich Dad Poor Dad, great book. It talks about something called a cash flow quadrant. But I actually think I might be mistaken. It might be the book is called the cash flow quadrant. I read all his books, so I can get a little bit confused. But basically, a cash flow quadrant is it's going to be on your screen. It's going to be a four-sided cross, which becomes a quadrant. And on the four sides, there's going to be four different things. Now we have on the left side, you're going to have employee, which is what most people are, or self-employed. And that's two ways of making money. You can be an employee, work for a company, or you can be self-employed. On the other side of the quadrant, there's going to be two more, which is called big business on the right-hand side and investments. Now, there's a lot less people on this quadrant, okay? And we're going to talk about the difference on each quadrant on how to make money. And those are the only four quadrants that I know of that you can make money. I know that there's other people will say other things, but once I detail each quadrant, you'll be able to place any type of money making scheme, business on each of these quadrants. Okay, so let's talk about employees. And if you're an employee, don't feel bad. I'm going to talk about things that might offend you, but if nobody teaches you this, you're going to go your whole life thinking that this is the best way of making money. Now, employees in all four quadrants, you can be rich or a millionaire, but it depends, right? On what type of job you're doing and what are the percentages of you getting that job. So, we're going to talk about how you going to have the best ability to make money in the squadrons or the biggest percentage. Okay. So we're talking about employees. That's the first quadrant. So an employee means you have a job. You go to the job 9 to 5 or 10 to 7, or you work in the midnight crew, whatever. You can get trained in a technical college, in a school. You can get trained by your employer. You're being trained by somebody. Okay. So an employee means you have a job. And when you have a job, it's the worst way of making money percentage wise. Of course, you're gonna be like, oh, I'm the CEO of a company. Okay, you're the CEO of $1 million company. Very rare. The percentage is very low. People that work on baseball are their employees, star athletes. They get a lot of money, and okay, it's over. Um, or they can be self-employed as well. But most of them employees, and you're making money. But employee means you have a job, which some people call it jump out of bed, and you have to go to work to get paid. You are going to be trading what we call time for money. Okay, we're going to talk about time and money. But basically, they can pay you by the hour. You can say, oh, I make $20 an hour, $12 an hour, $40 an hour, $50 an hour. And it could be fine. Mostly everybody starts here. Most people that raise their kids not having this knowledge do not start their kids here. They tend to put them in a bigger stage. Okay, so you work for a business, government branch. It's just you're working for somebody. Okay, you work physically, or you can work online. Now we're going to working online. You can work from home. It's a lot more freedom, but you're still going to be an employee. Employees, they have a different mentality. Like when you talk to an employee, it's hard for them to disengage their work. Okay, and the reason is because they seek security. Okay, and this is all done by Robert Kiyosaki. Okay, so I'm just repeating some things and I'm talking my own opinions as well. But basically, you are going to want security. You're saying, oh, I'm just going to show up for my work. I get a paycheck every Friday. I get a paycheck every 2 weeks. Some people get paid by end commissions. That goes into a different category when you get the commissions. But you're trading time for money. You want security. If you have a job, you want to earn more by climbing the ladder, the corporate ladder. So let's say, for example, I started off as I had a job at one time that I was in a dealership and I was one of the salespersons. Then I became the top sales guy. Okay. And then I became a internet manager, and you see I was climbing the ladder, and then I was able to become a sales manager. Okay. So you can climb up the ladder. Okay. And it's not the worst thing. It's the worst way of making money, but it's not a bad thing. Maybe for you right now, you need cash. You got to start somewhere. It's okay. In all four quadrants, you can get rich, but I'm going to teach you how to get rich faster. Get rich now, which is going to involve a little bit of work on your part. You also, if somebody here wants an employee, they want benefits. Some people, they want benefits. Young families, they want to have a kid. Okay, I need some benefits. I need some, health insurance. And they're talking about 401k, retirement, bonuses. And that's all fine and dandy. But you can get those. You don't need to get them from a job. You can get them by yourself. Those benefits, you can give yourself those benefits. Okay, but we're going to talk about that later. So, but people mostly associate those things like I have a 401k, I have health insurance, I have children, I have and things of that sort. So you have to decide how you transition from this, because you will need to transition. Okay. And sorry, my hat is a little bit sideways. Okay. And you can become, I'm going to say something that might offend some people. but take it in a nice way. Okay, listen. When we are employees, we are slaves. In don't take it as a bad way, it's a slave. There's two types of slaves. One that is by force. That's forced slavery. And the other one is by choice. And the one I'm talking about is willingly, it's by choice. You put yourself in that situation where you have to show up every day, spend most of your time at work so that you can earn money, so that you can pay other people. Yeah, not usually people don't pay themselves first. The first expense we're going to talk about in a little bit, but basically you're paying your light, you're paying your rent, you're paying your car, you're paying other people. Okay. So slavery by choice. Okay. So yeah, we become slaves by choice. And you have to get out of that slavery if you want to make money, because worst way to make money, employee. Okay, so let's continue. We're going to talk about the first two quadrants only right now. So the next one will be self-employed. So self-employed people make more money. They want more money. They're like, oh man, I'm tired. Let's say, for example, I was working for this plumbing company. I'm a plumber, and I say, wait a second, man, no. I want more money. I'm gonna leave this plumbing company. I can do all this plumbing job myself, and I can make money. It's called self-employment. You're still training at school. Let's say, for example, plumbers, lawyers, those are high paid ones, self employed. Salespeople, high paying jobs, insurance sales. Let's say for medical doctors, self employed. Okay. But what happens is with more money comes more slavery. Why? Because there's more work and less time, because now you are the owner of your job. You're not the owner of a business, even though you say, oh, I'm a business owner, so I have a plumbing company. I'm going to talk to you about big business, because if you have a small business, your self-employment creates more work for you. And this is where people get tired, and I call them a crazy person. Why? Because you have to do once you do this, you're just not doing plumbing, or you're just not doing medical care, or you're not just doing being a lawyer. You got a specialist skill, or you're an expert in your field, and that's the first thing you want to do. Like I'm an expert in my field. I'm just gonna go boom, do this. I have a good family member that has his own company, security, and he wants to do security, but then he has to work as well. So what you want to do is you want to take this specialized skill and make a lot of money, and you make money. You make more money than if you were working for somebody. That is super true. But here's what happens: like a doctor, lawyer, plumber, pavers, you want to turn this skill into a skill or education into a business. You want control for yourself. You want to be compensated well for this skill in your time. But you have to do all the business things as well. You have to do, if you're self-employed, you have to do taxes. You have to do payroll if you have employees. If you have to do supervision, if they see if they're doing the job well or not doing it well. You have to work more. If something happens, you're responsible. You have to run out. There's an emergency. So basically, doing all this stuff, then now you become a marketer. You have to do marketing for your business. You have to secure loans, and you have to do a whole bunch of things. Now, I'm not saying you don't have to do things like this in other business, but when you're self-employed, it takes away more time. So let's say, for example, if you're working 40 hours at a job, at an employee, when you're self-employed, you're working 60 to 80 hours. You're working more. Even when you're home, you're thinking about work. Why? Because it's yours and you're fully responsible for it, and you don't have enough people to run the business for you. So you have some freedom, but because you created a job for yourself, you might have less freedom. You have freedom to move around and say whatever you want, and you're the boss. I'm the boss. So, like I said again, now you're giving yourself more slavery by creating a self-employment. And I hope you understand me. I hope you understand what I'm trying to tell you. Because some people say, oh, I have this business and I have that and I have this, and you don't. You don't have it because you're creating a job for yourself. And I see people that have enough employees to create a business, And they're so afraid of different things that could happen to the business, such as payroll. I know somebody that gets really, really upset. I'm doing payroll. She gets mad. I don't know why. You have to be happy when you're paying your people. That means you have enough money. But if you had somebody that did the payroll, wouldn't that take away that stress? And there's people that have it, but they're not willing to let go. So another way of creating slavery is by not being able to let go of other people taking care of your business, getting specialized people to take care of your business, or breaking down a job into so many parts where they can run it. It's like, I had a hot dog stand. I never had a hot dog stand. This is an example. And then you want to do the hot dogs because you think people are not going to cook well because you're a perfectionist. So people that do self-employment, they like to be more of a perfectionist because they do the job well and they want everybody to do it the same way as them. Where you can just get somebody and be like, oh, put the hot dogs here, put it in this bread, do this and this and that. And if that doesn't work, get somebody else. I know I'm simplified. It could be more difficult, but you have to understand that in order to have a big business, you need to let go of being self-employed. Okay, and I hope you understand that. So let's continue. Okay, let's understand that these two ways you can make money and be rich, but the worst way to make money are those two things. Okay, and we're going to talk about now the second quarter. Now I'm going to go over some little things here just so you understand that in life we create something called imaginary lines. Okay, so a line. It's my name, Alain German. What are some imaginary lines? Imaginary lines are made up either by you or by family members or by somebody that you trust, like a school teacher or somebody um, like a mentor or somebody that you trust. You can create it for yourself or somebody can create it for you. And this imaginary line that you can put on yourself create limits on business, on systems that you can create to make wealth for yourself. Let's say, for example, I want to create a business, and I'm a doctor, and I'm like, okay, I want to be a business owner. Oh no, I can't because I study law. I study medicine, and I can only take care of my patients. All I know is to take care of patients. And then you create an imaginary line that you can escape. You can only be a doctor. You cannot be a business owner. And it could be a business about what you study. It could be like you want to do a clinic. And then you're like, oh no, because I want to make sure that everybody takes care of their person correctly. And I'm going to take care of my clients or all my patients because I'm a perfectionist and I want them to being taken care of this way, and a doctor might do it the wrong way, and then he might get sued or my clinic might get sued. You see, you can start making all this stuff up, okay? All the negative stuff up. It's called imaginary lines. For example, I went to school to become an accountant. I cannot make a book about cooking, even though you love cooking. You're a great cook, and you want to write a book, and you're like, oh no, because I'm an accountant. What are people gonna say? And there's people that create imaginary lines. I'm a doctor, so I will not be able to have a mechanic shop, even though I love fixing cars and working on cars and fixing cars. Okay, here's another one. I'm a poor person because I did not go to school. I hear this every day. Oh no, I didn't. Do you want to get rich? Yeah, but I didn't go to school. What does school have to do with getting rich? Okay, because I don't have enough money right now. Okay, you don't have enough money. Let me teach you how to get money. Oh no, I'll never be rich. We use excuses to trap ourselves that we own, or excuses that we borrow from somebody else. You can hear other people say those excuses and you can create it for yourself. So excuses equals imaginary lines if you're using them. So the first thing you gotta make a decision. Like I said, we're gonna make decisions here. Make a decision that you're not gonna have imaginary lines. And you're gonna get out of the imaginary lines. And you're gonna open yourself up for wealth. Because now we're gonna be talking about money. And I said we've been talking about money, but we've been talking about employee, self-employed. Now, I'm going to say something. Do not take my word for it. I'm saying 90% of the people are going to be employees and self-employed. and 10%, they're going to own about 10% of all the income. Okay? So I might be a little wrong, somewhere around there, but you have to understand that this side of employees and self-employees to the left is going to be red because you have to be there for the business to work. You have to physically be there or online or whatever. They need you for the business to work. If you're not there, the business will not work. And I hear people say all the time crazy stuff like, oh man, if the owner's not there, the business will break. And then you go to McDonald's and you don't see any owners of McDonald's. You're like, oh, that's a franchise. It's a business. And then you go to Walmart. It's like, hey, where's Sam Walton? He died. And then it's still working. So the owner does not have to be in the business for it to work. And we're gonna keep talking about those things. But not only is it the worst way to make money, and it's the people that pay the higher taxes. If you're an employee and self-employed, you pay the worst taxes out of everybody. And that's why people freak out when they say, oh my God, Amazon doesn't pay any taxes. Whoa, what? And then like, oh, and then you have people like the richest investor in the world. And you're like, oh, his secretary pays more taxes than him. Oh my God. And then you hear like Donald Trump like, oh, let's look at his taxes. Oh my God. There is legally ways to pay the lowest taxes when you're on the other side of the quadrant. Okay? So another thing is you can be the boss, right? But the boss decides the worth. So my boss, if I'm working at an employee, he's gonna decide how much I'm worth. And if I'm the boss, I'm definitely gotta decide how much I'm worth because I gotta pay employees, pay other people first, then take care of myself or build a system later on from the other quadrant, then we can change all that. But basically, um, it's gonna be rough. You can make a lot of money. Had a good friend that made fences and was making all this money, but he was going crazy. His wife was a nurse. She had to quit nursing to help him in the business because he was going crazy. Because he's not just installing fans, guys. There's a million things that go along with the business. Okay, so we have to learn how to get away from that, and I'm gonna show you how to do that on the other quadrant. Now, here we go. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna say it. Don't get offended. Broke versus poor. If you're poor, if it empowers you or consumes your mindset, it can become eternal. Eternal. Sorry, it can become eternal if you let it control your mind. But if you're broke, that's just temporary. That's just a temporary place. You can change it by applied actions towards your financial goals. Broke is eternal. Poor is temporary. Robert Kiyosaki. Okay, so broke is eternal. If you want to be broke, poor is eternal. Wow, I said that backwards and I messed that up. It's poor is eternal. Broke is temporary. I said that wrong, but I'm facing it right now. Okay, so basically what it means is you can change. Your business can go broke and you can change it. Or you could be broke right now, have no money in the bank, nothing, and you can change your lifestyle. Or you can think that you're poor and nobody can change that mentality from you. Okay? So think about those things. And if I said it wrong, don't judge me. Okay. So Tony Robbins, I love this guy too. Tony Robbins say there's only two motivators in life. People are controlled or motivated by only two emotions. Two emotions. And the first one is the ability to avoid pain or being in painful situations. So, ability to avoid pain is like, I gotta go to work because they'll throw me out of the house. I gotta go to work so I can feed my kids because if not, they'll have no food. That's the ability to avoid pain. I am going to walk up early because I have to drive an hour and a half to my job so I don't get fired because I'm gonna be late. I can lose my house if I don't go to work. They can shut off the electricity. They can take the car away. It can give me bad credit. We do all this out of fear. Fear is controlling you. And it's like just like, anything in life. Fear first. Why? Because you don't want to have the electricity shut off. We already talked about that. So now on the other side, we have love, which is get pleasure, which is love. That's why you see guys doing everything they can to get a girl, talking to them, sending them flowers, proposing, getting rings. That's love. The desire to gain pleasure, love, and also a little bit of greed, right? Because let's say, for example, I love this car and I want to buy this car, right? That's love, right? Or greed. But you want to, out of love, you get married. People commit. I'm going to get married. I'm going to have kids, which is sometimes not a fun thing right away, right? And especially if you have them young, you should have build your fortune first and have some kids later. Have sexual relations, buy things you like, eat what you love, travel the world if you like that, hang out with your best friends or have best friends. That's all I love. This means that we do those things out of love, which is pleasure, get pleasure, right? And those are the two motivators. And you gotta know which one moves you the most. Are you gonna be moved more by love, or are you going to avoid pain? And you can look Tony Robbins onto this, and he'll go in detail on how you can take those two emotions and break free from being a slave that you place upon yourself. Okay, so we gotta use those two things to, like, my motivators are not fear, mine is love. So when you work out of love, you work on a different frequency, and we can talk about that later, but it's going to give you more power. That's just me. I work on that one, but you can choose the one that works best for you. So let's take this into a simpler version. If you are riding a donkey in a carriage, the donkey can walk or move that carriage based on two things. And I know animal lovers don't hate me because I love animals. I have 5 dogs and I love them like my kids. We are going to either strike the donkey, and when we hit the donkey to move, he's going to move to avoid getting hit again. That is called his ability to avoid pain. That is going to move the donkey forward on the carriage. That's a motivator. The second motivator is if you put a carrot or some kind of food in front of the donkey, and that is going to propel him to follow the carrot. What that is, the ability to gain pleasure from eating, is going to do it. Or the donkey might travel miles to have sexual relationships with another donkey because his ability to love. Okay, so simple. I know. I just wanted to say those things to make sure that everybody understands. So, okay, rich people versus poor people. Here we go. Grant Cardone. I love this guy. Grant Cardone, my top of my list. Get all his books. Audio, books, anything you can on Grant Cardone. He's a little bit strong, but he's super, super good. So let me talk a little bit about Grant Cardone. It says here, poor people don't value money the same as rich people. You put the value. Like I told you before, paper is just value. It's what you put on value. So you can either make this for you or make it for somebody else. So poor spend and the rich invest. That's Grant Cardone. She says the poor spend. So let's say, for example, I'm like, oh, I got some extra money. Let's buy a big screen TV. Or I can take the money and get some books and learn about finances so I can change my lifestyle. I can watch a video like this, change my finances, and spend that money instead of buying a TV on me, on changing my mindset to do that. So he says that the worst investment is better than the smartest spending, because spending does not give you money back. An investment has a possibility. It might not work. It might end, but it has a possibility of giving you money back. And at the least, it's a tax write-off because it's gonna take away some taxes because it was an investment. So that's one of the things that Grant Cardone says. So let's take another one. It says rich people like to see the long appreciation of an asset, and this is super important because everybody wants to get rich quick now, but rich people like to see a long appreciation of an asset rather than Give me money right this second. I need money right now. I need to eat or I need to pay rent. Okay? They are not stuck in getting rich quick schemes. They have something called, and write this down, guys, and put it somewhere in your computer or somewhere where you can see in the window. Put delayed gratification. You start something and you have to wait for it to flourish. Okay? So the last one is rich versus wealthy, and this is super important. The super wealthy are creating money beyond their lifetime. That means that I'm going to be creating money, and the people that are super wealthy to give to the next generation, not only for myself, for a lot of people. Okay, so that's a great thing to have in your mind. So that's why you got to think long term, and you have to have the long appreciation of an asset. Okay, Grant Cardone looking. So let's talk about the next. Okay, we're gonna talk about the quadrant now. Now we're going to the second quadrant. Now there's two things on that quadrant, and remember I told you one is called big business, and the other one is called investment. Okay, let's go with big business. Okay, big business, according to percentage wise, is the fastest way to become wealthy. Okay, investment is too, but the fastest way to, if you want to make money, is to have a big business. Now, the rich don't work for money. And you're like, what? Aren't we talking about money? Yeah. They make money work for them. We're going to take money and we're going to create a business and we're going to pay people. See, the first thing is that once you have money, you start having money, the first thing that people do is they become stingy with their money. Like they don't want to share their money. They're like, oh man, I want to share my money. This is my money. Why should I give it to somebody else? Okay, so the rich share. It's like, okay, I'll give you this money, you can manage it. I'll give you this money, you can be the server. Let's say a restaurant. You're gonna be the manager, you're gonna be the server, you're gonna be the cook, you guys are gonna be the cleaners, and so on. And you have to share the money that comes into a restaurant with these people. So you can be free. So you own a system. You create a system that other people are gonna use to provide you wealth. Let's keep it simple. Let's say a big business. I hire qualified people to run the system, and this is where you go. Remember that I said the hot dog stand. You can put 1,000 hot dog stands. If you can create a system on how to put you create a system. The hot dog is gonna boil for 45. I mean, for 5 minutes, and then you take it out, and then you put it inside the bread, and then you put this and that and every ingredient, and then everybody knows how to do it the same way. Just like if you go to McDonald's, it's a system there. So rich own systems. They hire qualified people to run the system. 50 employees or more, or computer automation. So if you have 50, now they're saying 100 people, okay? But I say with 50, you can create a big business. Also, you can create a big business with computer automation. You can use AI, you can use automation, you can use software, and you can do big business using software. And you can replace people. Let's say, for example, have you ever been to a toll booth when there's nobody there? All you have is like cameras taking pictures. That's how you replace people. There's no more people taking money from the toll. You have cameras, you have a system that's taking pictures and charging people every time they cross that toll. That's automation. Okay, you don't need people. You can do it with computer. ATMs in bank. Have you been to the bank lately? There's basically no tellers. You have to touch. You go to Bank of America. You have to touch the machine to do all your transactions. Okay, so think about those things. Okay, the business must be run without the owner being there, and they have to make more money than if he was there. If you say, "Oh no, when I left, they're making less money," no, they should be making more money. It's a system, so they don't need you there. You cannot. You don't have to be there. You have to do this business without you. It has to work without you. Okay. It's gonna pay little in taxes. You gotta set it up correctly to pay as little taxes as possible. Now, here's a bad word for some people: commissions. And I see you guys. Some people freak out, especially if you're an employee, and if you, not so much if you're a self-employed, but we work. Everybody that's rich work on commissions. And you're like, what? Yes. And if you're afraid of the word commissions, like if they tell you, oh, you're gonna be a real estate agent and be self-employed and you gotta work on commissions, and you're like, what? Oh, you're gonna sell insurance, you're gonna work on commission. What? If you're gonna be that person, you're not gonna be rich because all rich people work on commission. You create a business and it's all commission. Customers have to come in and pay, or you have to get customers so they can come and pay. That's commission. And on top of that, we have to spread the commission out in between all the people that's working, that are being enslaved by choice. We have to pay them because they're gonna do their 9 to 5. Okay, and you have to pay them correctly and give them unemployment, give them benefits. Think about all those stuff. So it's a bad word for employees and some self-employed, and people are afraid of it. And you have to overcome that fear. You have to overcome that fear. You're going to be working on commissions. And everybody that's ever had a business or maybe a small business too, you got to work on commissions, okay? So I'm going to give you an example. Let's say I have a candy store. And my candy store, I'm working at the candy store and it's generating $100,000 a year. So I sell this candy store for $50,000 to a guy that wants to buy it. Bad business. The guy's like, oh, then you make 100. Why would you sell it for 50? Yeah, but I put a clause there that I'm going to get 25% of the revenue. He gets 75% by running it. So but I'm not going to be there. He's going to get the most. So think about that. Nobody wants to give the most. I'm going to give him the most because I'm going to make 25% or $25,000 by being at home. And I already know how to make candy shops. So I can make another candy shop, get 25% there, get another candy shop, 25% there, another candy shop. I have 4 candy shops. I'm getting paid 100% of the profit already, and I don't have to work. That's how big business work. You gotta get commissions, share commissions. You understand? If you don't understand this part, rewind it and hear it again. So we share the money with a lot of people, or automation. It could be business automation. You got to pay for software if you don't know how to make it. You got to pay for it, or you can have somebody build it after you have money, okay? And get those returns. And what we're doing is we're going to strive for freedom. We're going to call this, we're going to use people's time and people working for us to be free, because what's more important, okay? What's more important? Now, do a Google search now on how people became wealthy. And it's going to tell you that the percentage of millionaires, 88% of millionaires are entrepreneurs. They're doing business. 88%. Okay? More specifically, 88% of millionaires are self-made. So they made themselves. So this is a great, giant percentage that you can be part of this percentage. It's better than 10% of the money. It's better than the other one. You got 88% chance of winning if you become a business. So get to it. This means that if they're self-made, that they did not inherit, they inherit none of their wealth. And instead, they earn it through business, investments, and their own salaries. Of those who are worth 30 million or more, about 68% are self-made. And that was November 17th of 2022. Okay, let's keep going. I hope you're having fun with this and you're taking a lot of notes. If not, you can always see this video again. Okay, investments. Now we're going into investments. And it's all the thing. Guys, we're leveraging. Leveraging means we're using other people's time so that we can be free. It's like if you don't like cleaning your house, and then you hire a maid to clean your house, so you can go to work, and then you work and you pay the maid and your house is clean and your clothes is folded and things like that, then that's great, okay? So we got to use what we have, okay? And we're going into investments. Investments is, money is a bad boss, but a great slave. So what we're going to take is our money now. We got money coming in, right? So now we're going to multiply, and multiplication is awesome. And what we're doing is we're taking some of the money that we are earning, instead of wasting it, we're taking it and we're applying it somewhere else for an investment. When people put their money to work, they won't call, money doesn't call in sick. Money works 24/7, and we're going to put it in the most profitable way possible. Money does not call out from work. I can't go to work. No, it's not sick. I'm sick. No. Money wants to reproduce. It wants to make more. It wants to make you more money. You got to keep investing it. Something called compound interest. Look at what Albert Einstein said about compound interest. It's the one of the marvels of the world. You got to allocate money where you expect the biggest return. Okay, so there's a lot of ways we can allocate money, and there's a lot of ways to invest your money. So I'm not going to go into detail of that, but I want you to think about this: that once you take up money from your business, or from your work, or from your self-employment, you're going to put it somewhere so you can invest it. And I got some great things for that. But okay, so let's say an apple seed. Let's take an apple seed. An apple seed. You take an apple seed, you plant it, right? And we're gonna talk about delayed gratification. To make an apple tree, it takes 7 to 8 years. And you're like, oh my God, I gotta wait 7 to 8 years. You can be rich in 7 to 8 years, or you can eat the seed and throw it in the garbage and don't do anything with it. You have to have delayed gratification, because this is what happens. In 7 to 8 years, you have an apple tree. And an apple harvest of a tree gives you 200 to 300 apples. This is how this works. You're gonna get this harvest. It's gonna give you 2 to 300 harvests. But if you have an older harvest, like you have older apple trees, it's going to give you 400 to 800 apples. So you look it up in Google. That's how you create wealth. You start with a little apple seed, and you have to wait. You have to be patient. You have to be investing, and you have to be working and creating your business, and then your apple tree will give you harvest. And those are called investing basics. The seed will grow into a tree. Give it 7 to 8 years, and you get a harvest. And then you take the harvest and you keep investing it. You borrow a little bit, you create more business, or invest it more, and so on and so on and so on, forever. Okay? Now, on this side, big business and investments. 90% of all the money in the world, you saw 88%, I just rounded up, 98% of all the money. 10% of all the people. 10% of all the people, you want to be in the 10% or you want to be in the 90%? It's up to you. You use money to make you rich and free. Freedom is the number one thing here. Because time, you can take time. But what's more important, time or money? We're going to talk about that. The best way to make money is to use other people's time and other people's money. That's why investments, they borrow money from the bank or from yourself and investing. And then you put people to work for you, borrow their time and pay them for their time, whatever you think they're worth. And then create passive income and low or no taxes. If you want, repeat that a little bit again. Okay? So we got the quadrant and we're going over all those things. Now here we go. Money, here we go. Here's a figure: global income, wealth inequality. So as you can see, the bottom 50% of all the people have between 8.5% of the income to 2%. And then everybody else, look at here. This is the income and the wealth, 2% of the wealth and 8.5% of the income. The middle class, if you're stuck in the middle class, they have 39.5% of the income and 22% of the wealth. And then you have the 10%, only the 10%, like I told you before, have 52% of the income. So the wealthy 10% has more income than the middle class and the low class combined. And it has 76% of the wealth. You can look it up. This is in my number. This is from Google. Okay. So what's most important to you? Either time or money. Again, I've been saying this all throughout this video. Time is more valuable than money because you can lose money. You can gain it back. You can be broke You can gain it back, but you cannot get time back. You cannot be, I cannot go back and be 22 years old right now. I'm 46. So time is more valuable than money. Multiply your time by users others. Share your money to have freedom and create system to shorten those returns. Okay? How to learn how to use the money that you have. Okay? How to learn how to use the money that you have. This is where you're gonna make decisions, okay? You're gonna have two things. You gotta learn how to put things in two orders, in two planes of existence. One is called assets and one is called liabilities. Okay. Let's talk about, if you can understand what asset and liability is, you say credit and debit. You can either put money into your account, it becomes a credit into the bank account. If you take money out of account, it's a debit. So credit is an asset, liability is a debit. To keep it simple. Okay, but an asset, what is an asset? Is when something adds money to your account. An asset is something that adds money to your account. For example, if you bought a rental property, buy that before you buy your own house. Rental property, boom. And there's ways to buy rental property the right way. Boom, rent it and you get rental money. That's adding money to your account. Okay? Business system, buy a business system. Boom, adding money to your account. Interest, when you compound interest is sending interest to you. You can either be paying interest to your credit cards or you can be gaining interest. It's up to you. Gaining the interest every year of an account that you have an investment, boom. That's an asset, okay? Now liabilities. Everybody know what a liability is. You have to pay your house, your mortgage, your rent, whatever you call it. You gotta pay cars, and you're like, okay, I bought this car for 5 years, I'm gonna, and then boom, 2 years and a half, you're like, I hate this car, I'm gonna go change it. Boom, boom, more liability, more paying on that car, okay? But I use the car for work. Everybody uses the car for work, but you can use it as a business expense, or it can be a liability. Okay, but it's still a liability. It doesn't matter how you do it, but at least you gain some tax things. Well, let's talk about that later. But your home, your car, you gotta pay your light bill. You gotta pay other people. You gotta pay the people that cut your lawn, and a maid that you have that cleans your house, or you gotta pay the cleaners. You gotta give money to your children. Children are liability, and I'm sorry to say that. I have 4 children, but they're liability. You have to pay for them to go around, to ride cars, to get a motorcycle, to go to school, to take lunch, to buy clothes. So it is what it is. Some parents are liabilities. They grow older. You have to pay expenses. They get sick, blah, blah, blah. So you have to learn. There is good debt and there is bad debt. A good debt is, for example, I bought a business and I got a loan, and that business is paying the loan and giving me profit. That's a good debt, okay? If you buy a house for a rental property, good debt. If you have your primary home, that's not an asset. Don't get confused. Your primary home is a liability, okay? It might earn 4% per year, 3.5, however you want to put it, but it's still a liability because you have house repairs. You have to pay the mortgage every month. So it's a liability. I'm not going to get into that. You can look at Rory Kiyosaki. He can explain it better than me. As you know, put a thing of assets, and what you want to do is accumulate assets to become rich. You want to become rich now? Gotta figure out how to get assets. And as simple as that. Okay, so when you get your income, okay, for a poor person gets an income, gets a paycheck, the first expense that you guys have is called taxes. And what? Yes, nobody feels it. But you say you make $100,000 a year and you're getting $76,000. They already nip you. They cut you. You're getting tax because you're an employee. You get the worst tax bracket that you can think of. So, boom, they cut your taxes, and then you go into your expenses. Taxes and expenses. What are expenses? I'm like, hello, you don't make $76,000. You have to drive to that place. You gotta count your car. You gotta pay your car. You have to put gas. You have to buy clothes to show up. Those are still expenses that you gotta pay before you even start getting your money, because you gotta go to work. And then you got those liabilities. You pay your car and insurance. Then you have to pay your home taxes, the upkeep, blah blah blah. Now let's change that around. We can build assets. Oh, I bought a truck. Why you bought the truck? To pick up garbage in people's houses. Boom, asset. Rental property, assets. I put some money into a tax-free retirement account, assets. I um, I put a Coca-Cola vending machine, asset. Do you understand? I hope you understand. You know, between assets and creating liabilities. Liabilities are not gonna make you rich. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, I see my friends. He had a business and now he's driving a Mercedes and he has some Gucci. And I understand. That doesn't make you rich. That makes you look rich to the poor people. But that doesn't make you rich. Rich is assets. If you expend it, it's a liability. You understand? If you bought a Lamborghini, maybe you're paying as a liability. But if you bought a truck, you can take out taxes and it can make you money. Then it's an asset. And I know you don't like people looking at you on that truck where your pockets are full and you're free. All right. Or you can have somebody drive the truck, which is the right thing to do. Okay, so here we go. Here's three things to put in the asset. Okay, so you have two types of income, which is active income and passive income. And then you have the third one, which the rich use, which is called multiplying profits. Okay, so active income is like that. You start counting. You're like, okay, I work in my house. You want to get rich, and my wife or my husband works. That's two incomes. You got a second job. That's three. You're self-employed or a combination of those things. Those are active income. Like you have to go and show up. Let's go some examples of passive income. And it doesn't have to be this way. I'm just giving examples, guys. So you're like, oh, you only said those 9. Don't worry about it. You have a book. You create passive income. You write it once, you get passive income every time you sell it. YouTube channel. You can have this YouTube channel. People can subscribe. You can start getting some money. You can start getting some clients. Sing a song. You put the song in, you get residual income. Everybody knows that. Podcast, residual income. Affiliate market, residual income. Affiliate market, if you don't have to do it, you can just set it up once and keep getting paid, maybe a website and stuff like that, and a funnel system, automatic funnel system. Sell a digital product, like I don't know, like a calendar. You build it once, you put it on Etsy, boom. Um, Online course. Do an online course. Get paid every time somebody sees it's recorded. Um, automated business. We already talked about automating your business. You can do a website or an app. Okay, just examples, guys. You can figure it out once you know what it is. You can start noticing, was it passive? Is it active? And how to multiply those profits. Then you invest. You start learning how to do tax-free wealth management. You can get an account to get 7 to 10% average compound interest. Okay, those are the things you gotta be looking for. Now, I'm gonna do another video in about 2 weeks about how money works, how the pyramid, sorry, the pyramid of money, how it works. So be on the lookout. Please like this video if you like it. If you learned something, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day. And if you have any questions, feel free to PM, private message me. Have a wonderful day. Alain German, love you guys.